Hi everyone, and welcome to the introduction video on the 7 key fundamental skill sets. Now these are incredibly important to learn how to do. I cannot stress this enough. You have to learn what these are, and then you have to learn how to do them properly. These 7 key fundamentals is something that you're going to see me do and use with every single dog in every video throughout this entire course. You're also going to see and hear me coaching clients throughout the entire course when they're making mistakes that lie somewhere in the 7 key fundamentals. So it's very important that you see, learn, and become aware of what these 7 key fundamentals are. Then it's very important that you practice them so that you acquire the skill set. The 7 key fundamentals has everything to do with us, meaning our bodies, from our head down to our toes. How are we operating ourselves? So for example, if you want to teach your dog to walk with you perfectly, and I mean perfectly with zero leash pressure around their collar, how nice is that? Walking your dog with zero pressure around their collar. All right, if you want to be able to do this in any environment, in any location, anytime, anywhere, and you would like for your dog to follow you, pay attention to you, follow your guidance and your instructions, if you want your dog to understand when you're turning so that the two of you can be on the same page, connected, tuned into one another, you better learn and become aware of these 7 key fundamentals and practice them so that you can acquire these. Because if we don't know what we're doing, if we're not handling ourselves properly, the dog is going to pay the price. The dog will pay the price with a lot of unnecessary leash pressure, which is really unpleasant for the dog. Or perhaps you're going to turn and swing your dog around you. Or maybe you're not even looking at your dog during training and your dog is going to sneak behind you, and then you're going to have to pull your dog out and the two of you are going to get all tangled up. Or maybe you're not turning properly and the dog's going to sneak behind you, and once again you guys are going to get all tangled up and the dog has to experience all that leash pressure. We're not moving our bodies right, we're twisting, we're turning, we're switching leash hands. The dog is not going to learn if we're not operating ourselves properly, okay? So it's crucial that we learn exactly what we have to do and then we do it right, because the better we are, the better your dog will be, okay? The better we are, the better your dog will be. It's as simple as that. I wrote here that the next 7 upcoming videos will cover all 7 key fundamentals, all right? So in the next 7 videos in the course, we're gonna go through 1 key fundamental at a time in great detail. I'm gonna show you a whole bunch of examples on how things are done right and a whole bunch of examples on how things are done wrong. And you're gonna see for yourself, if we continue doing this, you're gonna keep struggling and your dog just won't learn. It's gonna be blatantly obvious, okay? The first one, I call it staying in motion, meaning proper legs positioning and proper legs movement. What are we doing with our legs? The first key fundamental has everything to do with our legs. How are we using them? How are we walking? How are we accelerating? What is our tempo and our speed? What is our positioning and our movements with our legs? The second key fundamental I call always watching the dog. In beginning of training, you want to watch your dog at all times. You want to be supervising your dog, tuned into your dog, and you want your dog to start noticing that you're always paying attention to them and supervising them, leading them, and engaging them, all right? Plus, we want to see what they're doing. In case they make a mistake, we can catch it right away. The third key fundamental is called arm, elbow, hand, and leash, which I refer to as leash mechanics, all right? So your arm, your elbow, your hand, and your leash. What are you doing with your leash mechanics? It's crucial that you break away from your bad habits that you have, because you have plenty, and that you start replacing them with how to do things properly when it comes to leash mechanics. Arm, elbow, hand, and leash. So that's the third video. The fourth key fundamental skill set is called turning properly and timely. Now you may think you know how to turn with your dog, but believe me when I tell you this, when you see what's coming up in this video and how everybody I've ever worked with turns with their dogs, you're gonna notice that you're doing the same thing as well. You're getting all tangled up with your dog, you're doing these big wide U-turns, you're doing things incorrectly. It's important that we move our bodies properly and that we learn how to turn properly and timely with our dogs. We don't want to go too close to them and step on their toes and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to see exactly how that's done in this upcoming video. The fifth key fundamental skill set is called engaging the dog on the turn. How and when. We need to learn how to do this properly so that we set our dogs up to succeed when we're training them, okay? We need to know how to communicate and engage them on the turn. The sixth key fundamental skill set is all verbal communication. Everything that comes out of our mouths. Proper words, sounds, tone, timing, and volume. We want to be doing the right things at the right time with our verbal communication. So in this video, you're going to see exactly how that's done with a whole bunch of examples and situations. And how when owners do it incorrectly, the dog won't learn, the dog's going to be confused, the dog won't see the pattern, or the dog's going to get all amped up and excited because we're being too high-pitched lovey-dovey with our tones, okay? It's very important that we train the dog properly, and verbal communication is very important. And last but not least, proper leash pressure, timing, and techniques. Proper leash pressure, how much are you putting on? Timing, when are you putting it on? And techniques, how are you applying the pressure? You're going to see exactly how this is done so that you can stop making mistakes with the leash and just dragging your dog around or swinging your dog around on the turn or holding the leash up to the sky and kind of choking your dog. Okay, it's really important that we learn how to use proper leash pressure the right way. And just so you know, all of these 7 key fundamentals all work hand in hand. They're constantly in motion, working with one another. So if I'm walking a dog, I'm going to be staying in motion, walking straight, operating my legs properly. I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to stop and stall, accelerate and twist and turn. I'm going to be operating myself properly with my legs. I'm going to be always watching the dog. My leash mechanics are going to be on point. I'm going to turn properly. I'm going to engage the dog the right way on the turn. I'm going to use proper verbal communication during my walk and during my turn and my engagement. I'm also going to use proper leash pressure in case I have to if the dog doesn't turn with me and just continues straying away from me. So I got to use proper leash pressure, proper verbal communication, and then back in motion, staying in motion, encouraging the dog to keep up with me while I watch the dog. As soon as we start doing things incorrectly, we start making mistakes everywhere when it comes to this kind of stuff. So if your dog sneaks behind you and you're not even watching your dog, and then you start pulling the leash out over your head and you don't know what you're doing, you're literally just crashing, okay? So it's really important that when you operate yourself, it's like driving a car. You drive it smoothly. You don't want to crash the car, okay? So the 7 key fundamentals has everything to do with us. It's very important that we learn how to operate ourselves properly so that we can operate the dog properly. And lastly, I wrote, everything in life is a learning curve. You're going to improve slowly but surely. And you're going to notice that throughout my entire course, I always recommend that you film yourself. Because when you film yourself, when you try and do these little training exercises that I'm going to show you how to do, when you film yourself for 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then you give your dog a break, go look at your phone and see what you look like. What was your leadership like? What was your tempo, your speed like? You'll be able to know where you went wrong by looking at this checklist of things, okay? So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one in the course, and we'll dive into these 7 key fundamentals in details. All right, thank you.